My wife, 36F, had a brief office fling and she doesn't know I, 38M, know. Confront or bury? This all happened a month or so ago. My wife's best friend's husband let me know after a few beers. The wife had confided in her friend that basically she had a silly fling, cancelled it all and felt terribly guilty and remorseful. We otherwise have a happy healthy relationship. Maybe after 10 years and 2 kids she needed some excitement? Anyway, my question, do I risk souring our dynamic by asking her about it? Or do I bury it and continue our normal lives? My issue with the later is every now and then I get an unfounded paranoia, but I'm confident there is nothing going on. Will that feeling go, or do I have to ask her? I don't want the guilt to hang over the relationship that one of us broke that trust and will be always living up to that. Too long did not read. Wife of 10 years cheated, ignore it or confront. Confront and deal with the betrayal. If you bury it, it will only resurface as resentments in areas that don't make sense. Why do you feel like you can't call her out on it and have her deal with the consequences? Does silly fling mean she flirted or had a crush, or did she kiss and slept with him? Maybe it's not the first time she did that. Confront. It was her mistake. She should live with the guilt, not you live with the paranoia. Since you are already choosing to maintain the relationship, then you have really good options. You should still confront, but instead of threatening her or making her defensive, you can build on the openness. Yes, you can still express hurt and anger. But you can also let her know this isn't a relationship-ending experience. And you expect her to share these risks in the future without being afraid. She can learn that you can work together through such feelings, risks, or even mistakes. This is a real opportunity to expand your trust and communication depth. I can't believe you asked that question. It will happen again if you don't confront it, and then when it happens again you will have no one to blame but yourself. How far does a fling go? I, F54, told my husband, M54, that I don't have a salary and he got upset. My husband, M54, and I, F54, were having an argument about finances. At some point I told him that there's not much I can do as I don't have a salary, I'm a stay-at-home wife. He got really upset because I said that. His reasoning is that he works very hard to provide for our family and gives me money to cover expenses. I agreed with him on that, but I said that he can't call that as a salary because I don't have a steady income on a set day for a set amount. I'm at his expense, I had to ask to receive, which to me is like begging, but that's a sort for another day. He said that if I consider myself married to him, I do have a salary because his money is my money to cover a mortgage in which I'm listed on the title, I'm insurance beneficiary and all things household related. I ended the conversation with a, "You're right," because I didn't see the point of going over something that I don't see from his standpoint, and I firmly believe that, me receiving money, that is not an allowance, is like me receiving a salary. Can someone enlighten me? Stubborn, wanna-be independent woman views. In order to be financially independent, you'd need an income if something happened to him. You currently have means to survive, but that would go away if he did. So no, you aren't financially independent. I always told my daughter, do not depend on someone else for your well-being. My ex was not great with the financial aspect, and I had to pull myself, and my young children, out of a financial hole, which took years. Why do you have to ask to buy things if his money is your money? And gives me money to cover expenses. There is something demoralizing about needing to ask for money every single time you buy something. It's one thing to have a discussion on a purchase over a certain amount, but any and everything? If you don't have cash or a credit card that you just buy a paperback, then you don't have money of your own. Do you have free access to his accounts? Can you go buy a dress without asking, if that's your desire? If not, then you are no more than a possession, like a pet, because you rely on him for your existence. Either he gives you a set amount to put into an account or you need to get a job. So let me get this straight. If you had to grab medications for one of your children, you need to call him to make the purchase? If you need to get groceries, you need to call him? If you see a cute dress on sale, you need to call him? Is he your father or your husband? Why are you with a man that degrades you every day and won't let you work and never listens to how you feel? Do your children have to call him for every purchase they make? Kids, this is why we don't become stay-at-home moms, wives. Trapped, dependent and lacking agency. If you are going to take a role that has no income, you must have a nest egg or savings that is accessible to only you. My 29F fiancé, 33M, insists on doing trust-building exercises, where he blindfolds me in public. I'm starting to feel humiliated. So I've been with my fiancé for 3 years, we've been engaged for 6 months. He's always been into building trust and doing weird exercises from books he reads or podcasts he listens to. It started small, like falling backward into each other's arms, or taking turns giving up control of the TV for a week. But now, it's getting a little bizarre. His newest thing is public vulnerability drills. Basically he blindfolds me and walks me through public places, like Target, the dog park, the farmer's market, while narrating what's going on. I'm supposed to trust his eyes and lose mine. Sometimes he will guide me to smell random fruit or experience vibrations by touching speakers in electronics stores. Last weekend he walked me into a fountain at the mall to test how I react to unexpected stimuli. I got soaked. He said I passed with a B+. I'm not making this up. He really grades me. I tried to tell him I don't enjoy it and that it makes me feel ridiculous, but he got upset and said I clearly have deep-rooted control issues and this is how we work through them. He also says I shouldn't undermine the sacred space of trust. What do I even say to that? Is this some therapy thing I'm not educated enough to understand? He's priming you for more extreme forms of abuse and control. Say, bye, and stop letting dude control you like that. This is disrespectful of you and not trust building but obedience training. This isn't about trust, this is about control. He likes humiliating you in public. He likes humiliating you in public. Let that sink in for a minute. This honestly reads like a fetish post about public humiliation. And none of us consented to participate in this kink. It's not building trust, it's a demonstration of power and how much control he has over you. It's toxic AF. It sounds like you have a good opportunity to assess yourself and choices. Is this some therapy thing I'm not educated enough to understand? No, it's your fiance's kink. If that's not the sort of thing you want to broadcast to everyone at the mall, the time to draw a boundary is now, before the wedding. 38 male. My partner 36F abandoned me while hiking in Yosemite. My partner 36F and I 38M were hiking in Yosemite. We had hiked all day, really strenuous trail to a waterfall with a lot of elevation gain, and both of us were carrying a backpack weight in water. On our descent trip the last 4 miles I was exhausted but still going at a normal walking pace, taking occasional breaks. My partner said I was going too slow and basically left me to run down the mountain herself. It took me an hour to eventually catch up to her. This shocked me, and when I later confronted her she said it was my own fault for not being as conditioned as her. I kept insisting that it's not normal behavior to just abandon your partner. This isn't the first time she's done this, and I would never do something like this. Would you accept this kind of behavior? How do you approach a partner who never accepts they are wrong and everything is somebody else's fault? You should abandon her. Update me. That sounds incredibly dangerous and something one might do to an enemy. Irresponsible and callous. And to double down when you called her out on it? She's not the one, my friend. I am a hiker in a relationship with a fellow hiker. He is more conditioned than I am. He may go ahead of me, but he always circles back to me within a few minutes. I would be pretty upset if he was an hour ahead of me. This is insane. You could have died. This would be the end for me. I can't think of any excuse that could justify this. This is why I have a hiking partner who isn't my romantic partner. He doesn't enjoy the hiking so much, isn't in great shape, and if I take him, I have to tone it way down to the point that it's not fun for me. I want to cover ground. I would not leave him behind though. That's just rude. If she wanted to run ahead, I get that, but then she could wait for you at a rest point at least and not put a whole hour between you. That's just not safe in addition to being rude. What if you got injured? And if she knew you weren't in good condition but wanted to hike with you, she should have chosen an easier hike. Never go out with that person again.